You're just a failure who can barely live because I support you. My husband glares at me as he says this. It's about time I could have bought some time. Your end is near. My name is Lauren, and I am 36 years old. I live with my husband, Matt. Matt was a high school classmate, and we reconnected at a reunion 9 years ago. We hit it off and started dating. After dating for 3 years and reaching the right age, we naturally decided to get married. Matt works in a company in the city center. I used to work in web design at another company, but last year I became freelance and now work from home doing a wide range of design work. Matt and I live together in a suburban apartment. We have been married for 6 years, but have no children. A few years ago, when we couldn't have children, a hospital check revealed that I was infertile. I was shocked when I was told this at the hospital, but now, 4 years later, I have come to accept it. Matt was shocked too when he found out, but he said kindly, "In a way, it means we can spend time together," and we decided to spend our lives together as a couple, gradually accepting the reality. I thought being happy together in our old age was enough. However, Matt's attitude changed drastically over the past year. Recently, he started spending more time at his parents' house, coming home and saying, "My parents are giving me a hard time about having kids again. It's annoying. Don't you feel sorry for not being able to have children?" His parents' house is a 1.5-hour drive from ours, not an easy place to access, but he visits them once a month. If he dislikes being nagged about children by his parents, I wonder why he bothers to visit so often. Thinking that, I say, "I'm sorry, but if you're going to be spoken to like that, why don't you reduce the number of times you go home? There's no need to go out of your way to make yourself unhappy." When I say this, he retorts, "What, you want me to abandon my parents? You're heartless. You can't even give them grandchildren, and now you tell me to abandon them." I didn't say anything like that. I would never say such a thing, but Matt always makes me out to be the bad person, calling me heartless. However, I doubted his story. I once confirmed it with my in-laws. "I'm sorry I can't show you a grandchild because of my condition." "Don't be silly, there's no need to worry about that." "We've never wanted to see a grandchild from you specifically," they said. My in-laws didn't seem bothered at all. When I first told them about my infertility, they comforted me as I cried. I couldn't imagine them saying such things, so I was cautious about believing Matt's story. After all, it's been 4 years since my condition was known, yet suddenly making a fuss about children and being harsh to me seemed incomprehensible. Then one day, I received a message from my friend Samantha. "Hello, Lauren. It's been a while. Can we meet soon?" Samantha was a classmate from the same high school as Matt and me. She's Matt's childhood friend and my best friend. She was the most supportive when I decided to date Matt. When she asked to meet, I readily agreed, and we planned to meet on my next day off. That day, I told Matt, "I'm going to have a cafe with Samantha." The meeting place was our usual cafe. We didn't need to say it. This was always our spot. I arrived on time for our meeting, and Samantha was already inside the cafe. "Samantha, long time no see." I greeted her. "Lauren, it's been a while. How are you? How are things going? How's Matt and your work?" Samantha asked. "Matt? Well, I don't know. Work is going great. I never thought it would go this well." "I'm really thankful to you, Samantha, for giving me the idea," I replied. "What are you talking about?" Samantha asked. "I just suggested that working from home might suit you better. But since you're saying that, maybe you can treat me to a cake." Of course. I'll treat you to cake," I promised. "But it's rare for you to want to meet up." "Is something wrong?" I inquired. Samantha's face clouded over for a moment. I became a bit cautious. She must have some worries. I need to listen properly. Just as I turned my attention fully to Samantha, a familiar voice interrupted. What a coincidence. Mind if I join? Startled, I looked and saw Matt standing there. He's usually so casual on weekends, but today he was wearing a shirt and jacket. His voice was unusually gentle, and I was shocked. He hadn't spoken to me like that recently. Why is Matt here? This cafe is totally aimed at women, not a place where Matt would come alone. It's full of sweet things, not to Matt's taste, I thought. Matt. What are you doing here all of a sudden? Why are you sitting there? Samantha is uncomfortable. Move away a bit. I scolded him, seeing Samantha looking uncomfortable. But Matt was unfazed. What's wrong with you? Are you jealous? You know, being jealous at your age is embarrassing, he said, laughing. It's not about jealousy. Samantha is clearly troubled. And why are you here? You never come to this kind of cafe. Just happen to be here. And why should I report my weekend plans to you? I was looking forward to a nice chat with Samantha, but you've ruined it. Why barge in like this? What? Just listen to me. I'm the one who married you, remember? You can't even have kids. And now you talk back. You used to be sensible, but now you've quit your job and live a lazy, aimless life. What right do you have to say anything? Lauren and Samantha exchanged glances. True, I quit my old job, but now I work from home. I earn a decent amount and even save for our home. I turned freelance because Matt started nagging about household chores. I had explained all this to Matt, but he seems to have completely forgotten, or maybe he just doesn't care. I was astounded. I'm sorry, but I am working. I have my own income. There's no reason to call me aimless, I said, to which he replied, Don't lie. I know all your lies. I've lived with you long enough to see through them. Oh, is that so? Even after all these years living with you, I still can't understand what's going on in your head, I retorted. If Matt could see through my lies, he should also see that what I just said is true. Samantha looked awkwardly at us both. Sorry, Samantha, for this silly fight, I said, then grabbed Matt's arm and led him out of the cafe. Please, really go back. Don't make Samantha feel uncomfortable. After saying this firmly, Matt left with a click of his tongue. I went back inside and apologized to Samantha again. I'm really sorry about Matt. He's been like this since the beginning of the year, mocking me, and I don't know why. It's like he's become a different person. That sounds tough, Samantha said. Yes, it is. He knows we can't have children, but recently he's been blaming me constantly. He suddenly started saying that my mother-in-law and father-in-law are disappointed. But when I asked my mother-in-law, she said that wasn't true at all. He's just looking for my flaws and trying to feel superior. Samantha looked downcast as she listened to my story. Samantha, I panicked, thinking maybe Matt's appearance had upset her or my gloomy story did. Lauren, actually, there's something I need to tell you. That's right, I had completely forgotten because of Matt's interruption. Samantha had been trying to share her troubles. Remembering this, I turned my attention back to her. I've been hesitant to tell you because I thought it might hurt you, but I can't take it anymore. I have to tell you. As she spoke, Samantha began to cry. Surprised, I moved beside her and stroked her back. About Matt, for about a year now, he's been persistently following me. She started talking, tears streaming down her face. Matt and Samantha have been neighbors and friends since before high school. Their homes are next to each other, so whenever Matt goes to his parents' house, they end up meeting. Samantha lives at home, And for about a year now, every time Matt visits his parents, he brings gifts to Samantha's house. Even when her parents found it strange, Matt insisted on waiting for Samantha to come out to give her the gifts himself. If it had just been that, it might have been excused as a close childhood friendship. Samantha was suspicious but didn't think too much of it. However, about half a year ago, Matt's behavior escalated. He started asking her out on dates over the line. Samantha showed me their messages, crying and apologizing. Sorry. I only married Lauren because she was pretty. I never thought she'd be infertile, a failure. I've been deceived for so long. I guess Samantha is the only one for me. You're still single because you're waiting for me, right? I'll get rid of Lauren soon, then marry me. I earn enough to support you alone. Reading these delusional messages, my head spun. So this was why Matt had been acting strange for about a year. To think he was doing this to my best friend, Samantha, his attitude towards me had worsened, and my affection for him had faded. But it seems his love for me had vanished long before that. That's no excuse to bother Samantha, though. If Matt really fell for Samantha and wanted to be with her, he should have first told me he loves Samantha and asked for a divorce. I would have warned Samantha to speak carefully, but I would have divorced Matt immediately and moved on with my life. The whole situation seemed utterly messed up. I've been wanting to tell you, but I felt like I was betraying you. I'm really sorry. Seeing Samantha cry and apologize, I felt a tightness in my chest. Samantha shared her fears of being hated by me and of what an enraged Matt might do. I thought it was best for Samantha to leave her parents' house and find a safe place as soon as possible. I discussed with Samantha about her future and getting her away from Matt's reach. I decided to discuss Samantha's situation with her parents and make sure that Matt doesn't find out where she is. I immediately went to Samantha's house and her parents' place. I suggested that Samantha should move out. Samantha's parents, being naive and kind, were initially shocked to learn that their neighbor and childhood friend were doing such things. After seeing Samantha's tears, they became very angry with Matt. We then went next door to Matt's parents' house and told them everything. Matt's parents were very apologetic to Samantha and her parents. I asked Matt's parents to pretend they didn't know anything about this situation and to help buy time for Samantha to escape. Later on, whenever Matt tried to visit his parents, I made up reasons to stop him. Matt's frustration grew as he found it increasingly difficult to meet Samantha. It made sense. He couldn't even contact her, as I had Samantha block him and change her phone. Frustrated by not being able to reach Samantha, Matt started taking it out on me. You ruin my weekends every time. Despite being at home every day, you make me do the housework. That's a failure of a housewife. You're just a failure who barely lives off my support, he spat. While saying this, Matt angrily hummed the laundry. I deliberately didn't wash any of Matt's clothes during the weekdays, pushing him to the point where he had no clothes to wear the next day. His frustration exploded as he was forced to do unfamiliar chores under my watch. It happened just as Samantha's escape was complete. Matt threw the pillow he was hanging at me, saying, "Enough of this. I can't stand doing this anymore. Get out of here, aimless like you will end up homeless anyway." He said this while laughing and thrust a divorce paper at me. Just as I expected, I quickly signed it and handed it back to Matt. I took my belongings and work equipment and left the house. I then headed to Matt's parents' house. I had arranged to stay with them until I found a place. Matt, thinking he had finally gotten rid of me, seemed overjoyed and went to Samantha's house. Finding it empty, he stood frozen in the middle of the street for a while. Matt will surely look for Samantha, but I've taken care of that. It's impossible for him now. I spread word about Matt's actions to our classmates during this time, buying strategy. No one will help him now. As for me, I used my savings to move half a year after divorcing Matt. He contacted me. He had blocked me, so I carelessly forgot to block him. Hey, long time no see. How's homeless life after half a year? You must be sick of it by now, right? Come back if you want to escape. I'll forgive you if you apologize, though. Really? Thanks, but you know I'm really comfortable right now. Why would I leave a luxury apartment to return to your place? Luxury apartment? Have you gone mad? I'm perfectly sane. I'm living in a luxury apartment in the Bay Area, complete with a concierge. It's very comfortable. We divorced half a year ago, but Matt didn't seem intent on getting rid of me. He never brought up the division of assets. Seeing that he didn't mention it, I didn't either. That's because I had been working from home and investing in stocks since I was young, so I had plenty of assets. When I started my new life, I decided to move to a nice house and chose a seaside luxury apartment. Compared to the days of his verbal abuse, my days now, where I can work as much as I want whenever I want, are incredibly comfortable. I have no intention of going back to a petty office worker's verbal abuse. You want to get back with me, right? You lost someone to do the household chores. Although I had no contact with Matt, I occasionally communicated with his parents. Recently, Matt's former mother-in-law said that when she went to Matt's house, it had turned into a terribly stinking garbage house. Matt begged her to clean, but the situation was so bad with the awful smell and countless flies that she said, "You need to call a professional cleaning service," and then she fled the house. Given Matt's recent behavior, his parents were appalled and unlikely to indulge him easily. I heard your house has become a garbage dump. Sorry, but I'm not a free cleaning service. Besides, we're divorced, remember? Who do you think you are, expecting me to come back? You don't even earn more than me. Matt seemed shocked by my words. I didn't want to hear any more from him, so I ended the call and blocked him immediately. Later, he realized I had blocked him and went crying to his parents. Lauren won't listen to me. Help me find her. If we make her apologize, we can all live in the luxury apartment she's talking about. I'll take care of everything. His parents, aware of the whole situation with Samantha and everything else, told him they knew everything. They then said, "We're disowning a foolish son like you. You're a bad influence on your sister's family. Never show your face here again," and they kicked him out of the house. Matt begged and cried, but it was too late. Even his own parents had no intention of helping him. Afterward, he contacted our classmates, trying to find Samantha and my whereabouts, but to no avail. Everyone knew about his misdeeds. Shunned by his parents and classmates, Matt was overwhelmed by complaints about the stench from his neighbors and eventually fled. Apparently, he went to work smelling like garbage and gradually lost his standing at the company. Still refusing to change, he blamed others for his lack of promotion, claiming he was being sabotaged, and eventually quit his job. He tried to find work, but with the stench and his tattered suit, no company would hire him. Matt, who had laughed at me becoming homeless, now seemed to be living such a life himself. There's no way he could find me or Samantha in his current state. I assured Samantha that she no longer needed to worry. Relieved, Samantha cried. Finally, she can sleep peacefully. The best part of this ordeal was that our friendship remained intact. We'll continue to meet at our usual cafe. I thought about this while looking at the sea from my balcony.